is Johnny Esau with the 1962 winners of the Canadian Schenley Football Awards. Canadian professional football has recorded its most successful season in history. From the many great moments with mounting pressure, one great play after another, huge crowds jammed the parks in all 9 conference cities. In the East and in the West, new stars and veterans, too, made the interlocking schedule exceed the dreams of football men in 2 short years. The writers and broadcasters had more time to see and judge the players, then vote on the 3 Schenley Awards. The runner-up for the Canadian Player of the Year is number 12 of the Ottawa Rough Riders, Russ Jackson. In just 4 short years as a pro, this grad from McMaster became the first Canadian All-Star quarterback in the Eastern Conference in 16 years. And all the opposition respects and fears the Jackson rollout as he spreads the defense from side to side. And like the Parkers and Plains, who were runners first, Jackson unveiled a much improved passing arm in '62. This combination caused head coach Frank Clare to declare, and the 192-pound Russ Jackson became his number 1 quarterback. But the tacklers don't have this much time to figure out whether it's going to be a run or pass play. When Jackson takes off outside the end, defenders have to commit early, as his 7.2-yard average carry indicates. Jackson was the 7th best ground gainer in the East this year. And remember how many times he worked that bootleg pattern, a Jackson specialty. He went over for 8 touchdowns this season. He was 8th in the scoring race and led Ottawa to 2nd place. And the runner-up as the lineman of the year is number 55 of the Calgary Stampeders, Wayne Harris. There have been many reasons given for the rise of the Calgary Stampeders since that Southern gentleman Bobby Dobbs took over. Some say it's offense. The analysts will tell you it was the day number 55, Wayne Harris, arrived in the Stampede City that the Cowboys started riding high. Scouting reports in the South said, too small. But how do you measure height? Harris has to be the hardest-hitting 190-pounder to play in pro company. His determination belies his weight, as so many passers know. He prefers to hit you in your backfield and not his. The Calgary coaches give him the green light to roam in any area, and from there he figures the shortest distance to the ball is a straight line. It's a rare quality when a second-year man can diagnose the offense so well. He blitzes those ball carriers and linebackers like a 10-year veteran, and he goes right to loose footballs like a bird dog. He comes up with him, whether he's up there hitting at the line or back deep covering passes. The quarterbacks call for their best pass protection when young Mr. Harris is on the rampage. And here's another example of why it pays to send those scouts out early and often. It pays mighty big dividends, even in small packages. The runner-up for the Player of the Year award is number 18 from the Edmonton Eskimos, Tommy Joe Coffey. It was in the 1960 Grey Cup final with Tommy Joe Coffey wearing number 78 for the Eskimos as they bowed to the Rough Riders from Ottawa. Coffey, playing 2-way football for Edmonton, looked like he'd be a standout there for years. In 1961, he decided to forego football for a business career and left a big pair of shoes to be filled. How big? Well, returning in 1962 and wearing number 18, he scored 129 points in 1962, missing Jack Hill's all-time record by 16. His booming kick sent the receivers deep, and he was always down, helping to keep them there. He was good on 9 field goals. He missed only 5 of 31 converts. His 2-way play is what coaches dream about. And on into the season, he became a 2-way halfback. And when he wasn't downfield catching, he was back to make jarring tackles. He was the top receiver in the West with 65. And there you have Tommy Joe Coffey, runner-up to the Outstanding Player of the Year. And now let's meet the winners. First, the Canadian Player of the Year. Number 21 from the Calgary Stampeders, Harvey Wiley. In 8 years' service with the Stampeders, Harvey Wiley has gained recognition as one of the truly great safety men of all time. This 180-pounder has exhibited tremendous durability, and ever since he returned to his old stamping grounds from the halls of Montana State, Wiley has ranked with the best in the Canadian game. This year, because of the new rules governing the Canadian Player Award, he became eligible for the first time. But now, let's hear his coach, Bobby Dobbs, describe these fine football talents.
Harvey Wiley is an outstanding individual as well as an outstanding football player. It didn't take the coaching staff long to decide that Harvey Wiley was another coach on the field, due to 8 years' experience in this Canadian Football League. For this reason, we appointed him team captain in 1962, and he has been an inspirational leader to all the players. Aside from the above, Harvey Wiley could play with any team in Canada in a defensive secondary without regard to import or Canadian status. Harvey Wiley not only plays the secondary very well, but has been the outstanding kickoff return man in the Western Conference. In each of the last 5 years, Harvey Wiley has returned a kickoff all the way, and each was over 100 yards. Harvey Wiley also set the kickoff return record for all time in Western Canada this year with well over 800 yards. Harvey Wiley is an asset to Canadian football on or off the football field.
Well, in winning the award this year, you beat out a very fine Canadian in quarterback Russ Jackson of Ottawa.
Yes, I consider myself very lucky to have done this. Russ is a very fine football player, and I believe had an exceptionally fine year. He had a wonderful game against us, I know, and we had to play well to beat him in that game.
One of the things most noted about Harvey Wiley is the fantastic amount of kickoff returns, the record you established this year and the long ones you get each year. How much work do you and the Stampeders do on this?
Well, Johnny, we put in a lot of work in this phase of football and in the early goings of the season, and then as the season goes on, we don't work on it too much, but we spend a lot of time on kickoff returns because we feel that it is an easy way of scoring touchdowns, and I've been lucky.
Thank you, Harvey Wiley. And now let's meet the writers and broadcasters' choice as the lineman of the year. Number 61 from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, John Barrow. Few players have stood out for so long as John Barrow. He's been an all-star in each of his 6 years with the Tiger Cats, splitting the honors between offense and defense. As a defensive tackle in 1961, he was the outstanding lineman in the East. This year as a middle guard, he was the kingpin in Hamilton's defensive record that was the best in the East and second only to Winnipeg in all Canada. But now let's hear head coach Jim Trimble describe the outstanding lineman of 1962.
John Barrow is an unusually big, strong boy of 250 pounds, 6 feet 2 inches tall. And for that size, he has an unusually good speed. His lateral movement allows us to play him at the middle guard, and I think he's the best tackler I've seen of all the linemen I've had in my coaching career, a great tackler in the open field situation. John's intelligence and his interest studying film, for instance, of our opposition has made us appoint him as our defensive signal caller. He studies film and then in the actual course of a ball game relays this information to the rest of the squad and invariably comes up with the right call at the right time. He has an exceptional professional attitude. It's his job and he enjoys doing it. But probably the greatest motivation that John has is his pride. He always tells me that if a thing is worth doing, it's worth doing well. Put all these things together and you have a truly fine football player in the person of John Barrow.
Now, in these 6 years at Hamilton, is this year's Tiger Cat Club the best of the lot?
I'd have to say, toward the end of the year, as we gelled into a good ball club, Johnny, that is one of the best balanced clubs we've ever had. The 57 ball club, I think, had a bit more power in their offensive running, but they didn't have the balance we had this year.
Well, now, what does it mean to John Barrow to be the lineman of the year in Canada?
Well, it's the greatest honor I've ever received, Johnny. I've been an All-American, and up to that time, I felt this was the greatest honor, and being chosen for this award in professional football, I think this is the supreme award that a ball player can receive.
Thank you very much, John, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And now here is the man honored by the selectors as the most outstanding football player of the year in Canada. Number 28 from the Montreal Alouettes, George Dixon. It's been a long time since one player has drawn such rave notices from the football faithful right across Canada. It's been just as long since one man has carried the brunt of a playoff team's attack. And in so doing, George Dixon electrified the crowds wherever the Alouettes played. While Davis and Blanchard formed the original Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside, Dixon did it all by himself. As effective off tackle as he was on the sweep or catching the deep pass, George Dixon averaged 7 yards every time he carried the ball, and he did that 216 times. His 1,520 yards is a rushing record in the Eastern Conference, and his 90 points on 15 touchdowns topped the scoring parade. This 195-pound, 26-year-old from Bridgeport, Connecticut, didn't stop there. He was 7th in kickoff returns, 9th in pass receiving, and you would find his name listed as the second man defensively in all 4 deep spots in the Alouette depth charts. It's been a remarkable year for George Dixon, so let's hear his coach, Perry Moss, talk about these outstanding talents.
He has an outstanding gait and change of pace, and it's almost impossible for any one man to stop him. He's a good inside runner and an outside runner. There's no especially as far as which area he likes to run. He runs to his right as well as to his left. He runs in the middle as well as he does wide. Also, he has exceptional speed, and he has very deceptive moves to get open as a pass receiver. Plus, he has fine hands. All in all, he's contributed a great deal to the Alouette team this year, and without doubt is one of the great runners in the history of the Canadian Football League.
And do you have any preference going up the middle off tackle or to the outside, and you do all 3 very well?
No, not really. I like to go with what's going well for us, but I get a particular thrill out of going up the middle for considerable gain. It makes me feel bigger than I really am. But I just as soon run off tackle as run in or up the middle.
Now that you have won the Schenley Award, what is your ambition?
Well, I have several, Johnny. First of all, I'd like to play in a Grey Cup, something I have never done here in Canada. Secondly, I'd love to have a long and enjoyable career in Canadian football. And to this end, I have taken out my Canadian papers, and I hope one day to be able to play as a Canadian citizen.
Well, I'm sure you will. Thank you very much, George, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And there they are, the 1962 winners of the Canadian Schenley Football Awards. Harvey Wiley of the Calgary Stampeders, the Canadian Player of the Year. John Barrow of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the Lineman of the Year. And George Dixon of the Montreal Alouettes, the most outstanding football player of the year in Canada.